20 minutes before 7 here on this Monday morning. Now, discussions within the ANC on the fate of President Jacob Zuma are expected to continue today. The ANC, led by its President Cyril Ramaphosa, arrived at the St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town yesterday, all as part of the party's Nelson Mandela Centenary celebrations. With the National Executive Committee expected to convene at around about 2 o'clock today, the nation's sitting, waiting, hoping that the stalemate will be resolved so that it can resume to function effectively. Well, my guest this morning is none other than Sexwale, who I think has got a lot to talk about this morning because there's so much to get through, to just pick your brain as to what's happening and to reminisce and to look into the future. Good to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Hello, good morning.
So I wanted, before we get into anything, talk about yesterday and the centenary, obviously the kickoff of the centenary celebrations, but more importantly, the 28 years since the release of Madiba. Talk to me about that day. You were actually still behind bars.
Yes, at that time, what a wonderful day it was. But we had been warned about it because there had been discussions amongst prisoners with Madiba, who at the time was taken away from us to Victor Verster. So secretly, weeks before, 10 of us were taken away from Robben Island to have a briefing from him about the process regarding his discussions, talks with the then Groot Crocodile, P.W. Botha, and then of course the subsequent talks with de Klerk. It was a top secret meeting. We taken from Robben Island, and we spent the whole day. I don't want to waste time on that. Put in my book. The likes of Terra Lakota was there. Popo Melefe missed the trip because they took a wrong Popo, and Ashley Forbes from Cape Town, and then we had Ibrahim Ibi, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs right now, and so on. So we knew what's coming. We were briefed. We knew the date. We knew the time. Then de Klerk made his speech. And then, of course, it was time to get Madiba released. So, some of us should have gone out with him, but due to certain changes, it was requested that especially those of us who were in firearms and things, rockets, and controversies, must remain for a while to give de Klerk a chance so that he should not be accused that he's releasing terrorists. So it was a soft sell. That was the deal. So we had to remain behind. But what a wonderful moment.
It certainly was.
To see him that day,
And yesterday was a wonderful moment as well. And I think particularly for the now president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, because we're seeing these visuals and these photographs of Cyril Ramaphosa as the man holding the microphone while Madiba was speaking. And I think everybody is reminiscing about this and thinking about it. And now he is the man. He is having his moment and constantly bringing up the memory of Nelson Mandela. Somebody whose vision I think we need now more than ever. Do you think Ramaphosa is the man to take us forward?
I said last time when we were at Nasrec that if Cyril wins and becomes the president, what a time we'll have. Because this is the man who was holding the torch for us as a member of the then released Nelson Mandela Committee. The committee that was there to also receive the political prisoners as we were coming out. That's why they were all there. That's why I said was standing at the right moment, at the right time in history, holding the microphone for Madiba. So it means let the voice begin. And of course, and I had said to you last time that it would be a wonderful thing. And coming from the Nelson Mandela Foundation, it would be a wonderful thing for us to have Cyril as a president being a leader during this time, the centenary of Nelson Mandela. He was good yesterday. There was no choice. The nation must get out of the morass. The wound must be cleaned out. And we would like to say, especially for the meeting that will start today, let the healing begin. Here in South Africa, we've been having a hard time. Let the country get out of its political instability and uncertainty, and let the economy begin to roll out. So we need economic recovery. We must get jobs, housing, education, those type of things. So he's the right man with the right temperament, but he will need people. You see, this one-man show doesn't work in the world. He will need people. One-man shows go also, it's nice to have. So Cyril needs to be supported. Today, this meeting of the ANC National Executive, we need the leaders to stand firm. We must pray for them. It's not an easy decision. They're taking a decision regarding one of us. Zuma, Jacob Zuma, President Zuma, is one of us. A long, beautiful history, that long, but spoiled at the last moment. We must deal with that. And the leadership must be firm. Must be firm. We're dealing with a country here.
Indeed,
you know?
and that's the reality.
And that's why I said yesterday, it said it is the interest of the people that come first, and not anybody else.
Yeah, which I think South Africans appreciated, because for a very long time I think we have, as South Africans, felt like we've been put last on the agenda, and it's been in the interests of politicians and those in leadership positions that have been there for themselves and not for South Africans. But I want to ask you, in terms of your opinion of how the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa has been handling this transition, this shifting of power. Many were expecting last week already these discussions to be finalized. Then, of course, we get in the talk of an NEC being cancelled. Don't worry, I will deal with this. Then on Sunday, another NEC called for today, 2 o'clock. What do you think's going on? Is it just, is this what you expected? I mean, or did we expect this to be a little bit faster?
Nobody knows except those who are very, very close, which is himself in the top 6. And sometimes even within the top 6, he has got to know certain things and keep mum about them, because it's a very delicate thing. Leanne, the cancellation of a meeting of the ANC National Executive Committee is a very, very serious thing. When people have traveled, they come from all across the world.
Yeah.
And when they're about to be here, they're told it's cancelled. Secondly, never in the history of this country, at least in our own history of new democracy, have we had the state of the nation cancelled. So what is the state of the nation? Chaos, instability, uncertainty, economic, jitters. We cannot risk this country on the basis of these things. That's why we understand that President Cyril, has been handling these things very carefully, very astutely. But there comes a moment, and I heard him quietly yesterday, when he said, it is time now for closure.
Yeah.
Management. This thing must be finalized. I heard those 3 words very loudly, very clearly. We all heard that. This matter must be finalized. We cannot have this rocky situation. Of course, it all starts the Madiba way, with dialogue. And for President Cyril to have engaged President Zuma of the country through the method of dialogue was a good thing. It's proper. You should show that we're interested in a peaceful and easy and a steady transition. The transition may be peaceful and steady, but be painful also.
Yeah.
Because this is telling somebody that your time is up, when somebody should have known by himself that the time is up. Look, Leanne, and I'm going to put it like this. President Zuma, one of us, from being a child, from being a young man, never had a chance because of the situation in this country, even to go to school, even to go to school, but he was educated the ANC way by ourselves inside here. From those days until we have put him where he is today, people have got to show gratitude. Say thank you.
Yeah.
Say thank you to the people. Show that you appreciate what we have done. President Zuma, out of the top 6 positions, is the only person in history here who has occupied most of those positions. Deputy Secretary General, National Chairperson, Deputy President, and now President. Only 2 has not occupied Treasurer and that. No person in the history of ANC has occupied those positions. It shows love and respect, admiration, and not because he was a top doctor, he was a top lawyer. This is the man who educated himself inside the ANC, most disadvantaged, Nkandla, nothing. The first school was built there by myself.
Yeah.
He was there with Cyril Kota and the president for him to have other people educated at his request.
And yet,
if we take you from those levels and put you up there, show appreciation.
Yeah.
It is time now that he must go. I had said last time, his bags are packed. He's in the departure lounge.
But he's not going without a fight.
Those bags can be bags of a luggage or a baggage.
Yeah.
I pray. That's why I say all prayers to the leaders today for a right decision to be. I pray that sanity prevails.
What did you make of comments made by his wife last week? We saw her putting to Instagram, and then, of course, the family very quickly apologized, basically, in a nutshell, saying, that he is not going without a fight. He is not taking orders from the other side of the Atlantic.
I think we should let it rest there.
Okay.
The family intervened. Because that statement, and we can't attribute that statement to the president, that statement is simply out of order. Out of order. And it didn't require the ANC or anybody in the streets to say so. I'm glad the family took a decision to call it off. And that's where I think it should be left.
Let's quickly take a break. We'll continue to have these discussions. And I want to get your views on many other things, but particularly after today's meeting. It may be recommended and said, we believe you need to step down now, it's over. And President Jacob Zuma refuses. What's going to happen then? Let's take a break. We'll see you after this. Conversation continues.